History has been made as the LGBTQ Equality Caucus lawmakers meet with a sitting president for the first time. On Friday, President Joe Biden met with the Congressional LGBTQ Equality Caucus, making him the first sitting president to do so. The caucus includes each of the openly LGBTQ members of the U.S. House and acts to guide the LGBTQ+ movement in Congress. The meeting was used to discuss issues that include the Equality Act. A spokesperson for Representative Richie Torres said he brought up the Food and Drug Administration's ban on blood donations for and from gay and bisexual men. Although the policy was relaxed in 2020, regulations still prohibited men from donating blood if they had ever had sex with another man in the past 3 months. History.
So you're good to donate.
I am good to donate.
Al is not good to donate. You have no idea. Okay, so many things that we could talk about this story. Let's start by saying I can't believe that President Biden is the first sitting president to ever do this. Like, I'm blown away by that.
That's because he's old and the others all stood during the meeting.
Were you saving that joke just for the
I
story?
was.
Okay. So kudos to Biden for being the first one. I can't believe it, but not even Obama sat with these people. I mean, he was the first one to even acknowledge our existence, in a non-negative way. Right. So, okay. And then the next thing is, let's talk about the blood also. I'm surprised that we're still doing that after all the years and all the scientific, reports that they have come out with. Still not allowing gay men that have had sex with other men in the last 3 months to give blood.
You know, I think that's an issue that is brought up, but change is definitely moving in the right direction on that subject. I think the big issue of Friday's meeting at the White House with the president is where did the Equality Act go? Last year we talked about the Equality Act in 2021, the first calendar year of the president's election. Coming into office on January 20, and we talked about the Equality Act and talked about it and talked about it. Did it fall off of the agenda of everyone talking about it? And you know who I think this meeting is important of, but it hasn't gotten much attention. And you know where it hasn't gotten much attention? In the LGBTQ community. This is really a historic moment because once upon a time, even President Obama, much less George Bush, much less Donald Trump, who was the gayest president endorsed ever in history.
Yeah, sure.
There was never a meeting like this. No. Joe Biden delivered. He delivered. But what are we doing in terms of the LGBTQ community standing up and saying, this is an important moment, the Equality Act passage is important, and also we've got to get more people elected to Congress so the Equality Act can be passed. Well, I'm just saying, we don't seem to be outraged over this.
Well, I would wonder, I don't know the answer to this, how many LGBT members of Congress were there as recently as 2010 or 2012 when the last time we had a solid Democrat in the Oval Office? And I would also like to contrast this with meetings that didn't happen. Student protesters and student lobbyists went to Tallahassee to talk to representatives about the Don't Say Gay bill. They could not get into the sponsors who were, the legislators who were sponsoring this bill. Several Democrats met with them. A couple of aides for the Republicans sat in their office and went, yeah, don't say that word. I mean, it's terrible. Scott Galvin, friend of the show and head of Safe Schools Florida, sent me an essay written by one of the kids, and it's just an amazing point of view, and I hope it gets published somewhere, and if it does, I'll bring it up here. But we can't even get a meeting in our own state with opposition elected officials. So I think this happening in Washington, D.C. is a huge step forward, just in the contrast.
So why aren't we talking about it?
Because we've been distracted by Ron DeSantis. We've been distracted by hate. We've been distracted by Texas. We've been distracted by all these other issues that are continuing to tear away at the fabric when we talk about transgender. So it's a great tagline, equality, but when you go down to the individual states, is it happening there? And don't you have to fight on a local level in order to get more attention on the national? So Yeah,
We're distracted by, Ron DeSantis and his lies. What was it? He was always talking about a trans kid, right? That supposedly the school took it upon themselves to change his name and allow him to dress like a boy, and without telling the parent. And supposedly it was a lie. It was a complete lie. This person had asked the school to please change their child's pronouns and were in support of their child coming out as non-binary. And he was peddling this story as like, would you like them to do that to your child? For them to let your child dress in the other agenda and not let you be a part of it. I mean, and the story was a lie, and he got caught out there with it.
Right.
That's what we're distracted with, Al.
With
with nonsense.
But just to go back to the blood again, there's a project called the Blood Mirror. I don't know if anyone's gotten to see it. It travels around the country. It's about 13 feet tall, and it is panes of glass with blood from gay people that are not HIV positive, who could have saved other people's lives. And this guy Jordan in New York travels with it around the country. It's been down here on display. He's done something on the, I can't remember what they call the elevated area in New York, that there's like a tourist area that's the old trains that have gone out. He's even done things there where they've actually used been able to project like images of blood on everything. And it's extremely powerful. And if you ever get a chance to see it, it's definitely take advantage of that.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.